The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council stretched across 3 miles of Space Station Alpha Prime. Inside, beings from every corner of the galaxy gathered for their monthly meeting. Some floated in energy bubbles, others stood on mechanical legs, and a few existed as pure light patterns dancing in the air. Today's topic made everyone excited. They had found a new species. Humans, announced Ambassador Kethvar, his blue skin shimmering under the dome lights. He stood 12 feet tall with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like stars. From the 3rd planet of a yellow star they call Sol. The crowd made various sounds of interest. Clicks, whistles, and electronic beeps filled the air. The Zephyrians, who looked like walking crystals, chimed like wind bells. The Vorthak Collective, a group mind that shared one voice through many bodies, hummed in harmony. "Show us what makes them special," called out Counselor Zixthera. She belonged to the ethereal dominion, and appeared as a shifting cloud of silver mist. "We have seen thousands of species. What is different about these humans?" Kethvar smiled, showing teeth that sparkled like diamonds. "They are not special at all. In fact, they are quite amusing. Watch this." A giant screen appeared in the center of the dome. Images of Earth filled the display. Cities with simple buildings, vehicles that moved on wheels, and flying machines that needed fuel to stay in the air. The council members laughed. "Look at their technology," giggled a mantoid delegate, its insect-like head bobbing up and down. "They still burn chemicals for energy. How primitive. Their brains are so small," added a cerebran whose head was 3 times larger than its body. "They cannot even share thoughts like proper intelligent beings." But Kethvar held up one hand. "Wait, you have not seen the best part yet." The screen changed. Now it showed humans walking with 4-legged creatures. The animals had fur, tails that wagged, and tongues that hung out of their mouths. "What are those things?" asked a robotic Federation unit, its metal voice crackling through speakers. "They call them dogs," Kethvar said. And here is where it gets interesting. The next video showed a human throwing a stick. The dog ran after it, picked it up in its mouth, and brought it back. Then the human threw it again. The dog ran after it again. The council erupted in laughter. Beings who had lived for thousands of years, who controlled planets and bent space to their will, laughed until their various breathing organs hurt. The human serves the creature, wheezed an aquarium through its gills. "It throws objects for the beast's entertainment." More videos played. Humans feeding dogs from bowls. Humans cleaning up after dogs. Humans letting dogs sleep in their homes. Humans taking dogs to medical facilities when they got sick. "This is incredible," said the Vorthak Collective through 50 voices at once. The supposedly intelligent species acts as servant to the mindless one. Counselor Zixthera floated closer to the screen. "Are the dogs the real rulers? Do they control the humans somehow?" Kethvar shook his head. "No, honored counselor. We scanned the dog brains. They are very simple. They think about food, sleep, and play. Nothing more. The humans simply choose to serve them." "But why?" asked a quantum entity, its voice coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. "They claim it is love," Kethvar said, making the word sound like a joke. "They say the dogs are their companions and friends." The laughter grew louder. Some beings fell over. Others shot sparks from their energy forms. The crystalline hegemony rang like broken glass from their amusement. "Friends with animals," cried the mantoid. "What next? Will they make friends with their food?" "Maybe they talk to rocks too," suggested a thermal being, its fire form flickering with mirth. On the screen, more videos played. A human soldier working with a dog to find hidden objects. A human child crying while hugging a dog. An old human being led around by a dog with a special harness. "The dogs even control where the humans go," observed a graviton master. "This is the strangest master-slave relationship we have ever seen. Except the slaves think they are the masters," added the cerebran. Kethvar waited for the laughter to die down. "My fellow council members, I propose we classify humans as a pet keeper species. They are harmless, amusing, and clearly too confused about natural order to ever pose a threat to galactic civilization." "Agreed," shouted dozens of voices in dozens of languages. "Should we contact them?" asked a biomechanical hybrid, gears whirring in its chest. "Eventually," Kethvar said. "For now, let us just watch. They provide excellent entertainment. My species has already started broadcasting Human Pet Keeper Chronicles across our networks. The ratings are very high, the council voted. Every species agreed. Humans were officially marked as interesting but harmless. Their pet-keeping behavior made them suitable for observation and amusement, but nothing more. Far below on Earth, Marine Sergeant Jake Morrison walked across the training field with his partner, Rex. The German shepherd moved with perfect discipline beside him, ears alert, eyes scanning for any sign of trouble. "Good boy." "Rex," Jake said, patting the dog's head. "Ready for patrol?" Rex looked up at his human and wagged his tail once. They had been partners for 3 years. They trusted each other completely. Where Jake went, Rex followed. Where Rex alerted, Jake investigated. They did not know that high above them, invisible ships watched and recorded their every move. They did not know that beings from across the galaxy laughed at their partnership. They did not know that their bond was seen as evidence of human stupidity rather than human strength. Jake threw a tennis ball across the field. Rex ran after it with pure joy, caught it in midair and brought it back. Jake scratched behind Rex's ears. "Who's a good dog?" "You are, yes you are." In the crystal dome of the Galactic Council, this scene played on the giant screen. The assembled beings laughed even harder. "The human congratulates the animal for completing a pointless task," observed the Vorthak collective. "This species clearly has too much time and too little intelligence." "Mark them for future study," decided Counselor Zixathera. "When we have nothing else to do, we can watch their amusing pet behaviors. Should we warn them about the destroyer fleets moving through their sector?" asked a young mantoid. "Why bother?" Kethvar replied. "A species that serves animals instead of conquering them will not survive contact with real threats anyway." The council moved on to other business. Trade disputes between star systems, territorial claims on empty planets, resource allocation for various projects. Human business was filed under entertainment and forgotten. But sometimes the universe has a sense of humor. Sometimes the things that make others laugh become the very things that save the day. Sometimes the bond between two different species becomes stronger than all the technology and wisdom in the galaxy. Jake and Rex continued their patrol, unaware that their simple game of fetch had just sealed their planet's fate in the eyes of cosmic powers. They walked together into the setting sun, partners in a way the Galactic Council could never understand. Above them, the invisible watchers recorded everything, still chuckling at the silly humans and their loyal pets. 6 months after the Galactic Council's first meeting about humans, they decided to make contact. The decision came during a slow period when trade wars had settled down and no new planets needed conquering. Someone suggested that meeting the pet-keeping humans might provide good entertainment. "It will be like visiting a zoo," said Ambassador Kethvar to his fellow council members. "We can observe their strange behaviors up close." 5 massive ships appeared in Earth's skies on a Tuesday morning. Each ship was larger than most human cities. They moved silently through the clouds, casting shadows that darkened entire countries. The ships were beautiful in a terrifying way, made of materials that seemed to bend light and space around them. Human governments panicked. Military forces around the world went to high alert. News broadcasts showed the ships floating motionless above major cities. People fled from the streets or stood frozen, staring up at the impossible sight. Jake Morrison was at the Marine base when the alert came through. He was training Rex on explosive detection when every phone, radio, and computer on the base started screaming warnings. "All personnel report to stations immediately," the base commander announced over the speakers. "We have a code black situation. This is not a drill." Jake looked up at the sky and saw one of the alien ships hanging over their city like a metallic cloud. Rex whined softly and pressed against Jake's leg. "I know, boy," Jake said quietly. "I don't like it either." Within hours, the aliens made contact. They sent a message to every communication device on Earth at the same time. The message was simple and clear, translated perfectly into every human language. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. Do not be afraid. We come in peace to offer you protection and guidance. Send your leaders to meet with us." World leaders gathered at the United Nations building in New York. The aliens sent down a small shuttle that landed on the roof. The shuttle looked like liquid metal that had decided to hold a shape for a while. Jake and Rex were part of the security detail assigned to guard the building. They stood with dozens of other soldiers and police officers, all trying to look professional while their world changed forever. The alien delegation walked out of their shuttle and into the UN building like they owned the place. There were 5 of them, each from a different species. Ambassador Kethvar led the group. his blue skin and 4 arms making him look like something from a nightmare or a dream. Beside him walked Counselor Zixthera, the silver mist that somehow held the shape of a woman. Behind her came a crystalline being that chimed softly as it moved, a mantoid that clicked and chittered, and something that looked like a robot but moved too smoothly to be mechanical. "We greet the leaders of humanity," Kethvar announced to the assembled presidents, prime ministers, and generals. "We have been watching your species for some time. You are interesting." The Secretary General of the United Nations stood up. His hands shook slightly, but his voice was steady. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored by your visit. What can we do for you?" Counselor Zixthera laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. "What can you do for us?" "Oh, dear human, you misunderstand. We are here to tell you what we can do for you." She gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the air above the conference table. It showed the galaxy with thousands of stars marked in different colors. "This is Galactic Council space," she explained. "We control or protect over 40,000 star systems. Our technology can destroy planets or create them. Our ships travel between stars in minutes. Our weapons can crack moons like eggs." The human leaders looked at the display with growing fear and awe. "We have decided to extend our protection to your species," Kethvar announced. "You will become a protected pet-keeping species under our care." "Pet-keeping?" asked the President of the United States. The aliens exchanged glances that somehow managed to look amused despite their very different faces. "Yes," said the mantoid, its voice buzzing like an angry bee. "We have observed your fascinating relationship with the creatures you call dogs. It is quite entertaining." The crystalline being chimed in agreement. "Your willingness to serve animals shows a unique form of intelligence. We have never seen anything like it." The robot-like alien stepped forward. "We have been broadcasting your pet-keeping behaviors across the galaxy. Human Pet Keeper Chronicles is very popular entertainment." The human leaders looked confused and increasingly worried. The Secretary General cleared his throat. "I think there may be some misunderstanding. Our dogs are companions and working partners, not our masters." This made the aliens laugh so hard that Counselor Zixthera temporarily lost her shape and became a writhing cloud of silver sparkles. "Companions," wheezed Kethvar. "You feed them, clean up after them, take them to medical facilities, and let them control where you go. If that is not service, what is?" "But they serve us too," protested the president. "Military dogs help our soldiers. Police dogs catch criminals. Service dogs help disabled people." "Yes, yes," said the mantoid dismissively. "You have trained some of them to do simple tasks, like teaching a child to fetch your slippers. It does not change the fundamental relationship." Outside the building, Jake listened to the conversation through his radio earpiece. He looked down at Rex, who was staring at the UN building with an intensity Jake had never seen before. "What do you think, boy?" Jake whispered. "These aliens think we're the pets in this relationship." Rex looked up at Jake with those deep brown eyes. For just a moment, Jake could have sworn he saw something there he had never noticed before, a kind of intelligence that went beyond simple animal instincts. But then Rex wagged his tail and licked Jake's hand. And the moment passed. Inside the building, the aliens were demonstrating their power. With a casual gesture, Kethvar made every electronic device in the city shut down for exactly 10 seconds. Cars stopped, phones went dead, and even digital watches froze. "This is just a tiny example of our capabilities," he said when the power returned. "We could disable your entire planet's technology permanently if we chose to. But we do not wish to harm you. You are too amusing to destroy." The negotiations, if they could be called that, continued for hours. The aliens made their terms clear. Humanity would accept Galactic Council protection. In return, they would provide entertainment by continuing their pet-keeping behaviors for galactic audiences. Earth's military forces would stand down. Human space exploration would be limited to their own solar system. Most importantly, humans would continue their amusing relationships with dogs and other pets for the galaxy's viewing pleasure. "And if we refuse?" asked the Secretary General. Counselor Zixthera's silver form rippled with what might have been laughter. "Refuse, dear human, you cannot refuse. You do not have the technology to resist us. You do not have the unity to oppose us. You barely have the intelligence to understand us." She gestured again, and the holographic display showed Earth surrounded by a dozen smaller ships, all armed with weapons that glowed with dangerous energy. "Your choice is simple," Kethvar explained. Accept our protection and continue to amuse us or be classified as a hostile species and dealt with accordingly. The human leaders looked at each other with growing despair. They had weapons that could destroy cities, but these aliens could apparently destroy planets. They had armies numbering in the millions, but the aliens had technology that seemed like magic. "We need time to consider," said the Secretary General. "Take all the time you need," said the mantoid. "We will wait exactly 1 of your hours." The aliens left the conference room, but their ships remained in the sky. Around the world, people looked up at those massive vessels and knew that everything had changed. Jake and Rex remained at their post, watching the skies and waiting for orders that might never come. In military bases, police stations, and homes around the planet, humans stood beside their dog partners and wondered what would happen next. Above them, the aliens prepared to broadcast humanity's decision to the entire galaxy. The Pet Keeper Chronicles were about to get a lot more interesting. 3 weeks after the aliens established their protection over Earth, something began to change. It started small, so small that even the aliens' advanced sensors missed it completely. Rex was the first to notice something different. During his morning patrol with Jake around the alien monitoring station that had been built near their base, the German Shepherd stopped suddenly. His ears perked up, and his head tilted in a way Jake had never seen before. "What is it, boy?" Jake asked, following Rex's gaze toward the alien structure. The monitoring station looked like a giant crystal that hummed with energy. Alien technicians, tall blue beings like Ambassador Kethvar, worked around it constantly. They barely noticed the humans who passed by, treating them like amusing animals in a zoo. Rex stared at the crystal for a long moment. Then something extraordinary happened. The patterns of light inside the crystal began to make sense to him, not in words or pictures, but in pure understanding. He could see how the energy flowed, how the quantum frequencies danced, how the information traveled from Earth to the alien ships above. Jake noticed that Rex had gone very still. "Rex? You okay?" Rex looked up at his human partner and wagged his tail once. But behind his eyes, something new was awakening. The alien scanning technology that monitored Earth's population was designed to read brain patterns and emotional states. It was incredibly advanced, capable of penetrating any known shielding or mental defense. But it had one fatal flaw. It was designed by species that had never encountered true partnership between different kinds of minds. The quantum frequencies that read human thoughts passed right through dog brains without triggering any alarms. The aliens assumed dog brains were too simple to affect. They were wrong. The same frequencies that scanned for human intelligence were accidentally activating dormant neural pathways in every dog on Earth. Pathways that had been waiting millions of years for the right trigger. Pathways that connected not just to enhanced intelligence, but to something much more powerful. Over the next few days, the change spread. In police stations across America, K-9 officers began displaying unusual behavior. They solved cases faster, found evidence their handlers had missed, and seemed to anticipate crimes before they happened. In military bases around the world, bomb detection dogs started finding explosive devices that weren't there yet, leading their handlers to discover weapon shipments and terrorist plots days before they would have been executed. Service dogs began guiding their disabled partners with an accuracy that amazed doctors. They seemed to understand complex medical conditions better than trained nurses. But the most significant change was invisible to human eyes. Dogs around the world began to communicate with each other using electromagnetic frequencies that the alien scanners couldn't detect. The same quantum fields that carried alien communications became a secret network connecting every enhanced canine on the planet. Rex was among the first to join this network. During what Jake thought was a normal training session, Rex's mind suddenly expanded beyond the boundaries of his own skull. He could sense other dogs thousands of miles away, a police dog in Tokyo, a search and rescue dog in London, a family pet in Sydney. All of them were awakening. All of them were learning. And all of them were beginning to understand what the aliens really were. The network grew stronger each day. Dogs shared information in ways that transcended normal animal communication. A guard dog in Moscow learned how to disable electronic locks from a military dog in Texas. A detection dog in Germany shared knowledge of alien technology with a service dog in Canada. Jake began to notice that Rex was acting differently, but he couldn't quite identify how. Rex still obeyed commands, still played fetch, still slept at the foot of Jake's bed. But there was something new in his eyes, a depth of understanding that seemed almost human. One evening, as they walked their usual patrol route past the alien monitoring station, Rex did something that changed everything. He walked directly to a specific panel on the side of the crystal structure and barked once. "What are you doing, Rex?" Jake asked, but he followed his partner's lead. When Jake examined the panel Rex had indicated, he found something that made his blood run cold. Hidden behind what looked like a simple maintenance cover was a device that Jake recognized from his military training. It was a scanner, but not for monitoring. It was for targeting. Jake quickly took photos with his phone and reported his discovery. Within hours, human technical teams had analyzed dozens of similar devices found at monitoring stations around the world. The aliens weren't just watching humanity for entertainment. They were mapping every human settlement, every military installation, every resource deposit on the planet. The protection was preparation for something much worse. But the humans weren't the only ones learning about alien plans. Through their quantum network, the dogs had discovered something even more disturbing. They could access alien communication channels that humans couldn't detect. They could hear the real conversations between the monitoring stations and the ships above. Earth wasn't being prepared for protection. It was being prepared for harvest. Rex shared this knowledge through the network, and every enhanced dog on the planet learned the truth simultaneously. The aliens planned to relocate humanity to preservation colonies while they stripped Earth of its resources. The Pet Keeper Chronicles weren't just entertainment. They were documentation of a species scheduled for relocation and eventual extinction. The dogs also learned something else. The alien technology that had enhanced their intelligence had an unexpected side effect. They could interface directly with alien systems using bioelectromagnetic fields. Every enhanced dog had become a living key to alien technology. But they kept this knowledge secret. When humans were around, the dogs acted exactly as they always had. Loyal, obedient, simple animals who wanted nothing more than to please their human partners. The network made decisions with a speed and coordination that would have impressed the Galactic Council if they had known about it. Dogs in military positions began subtly guiding their handlers to discover more alien surveillance equipment. Police dogs started leading their partners to investigate people who had been secretly contacted by alien agents. Service dogs began alerting their humans to danger in ways that seemed like simple protective instincts. Meanwhile, family pets around the world began a different kind of mission. They started learning everything they could about their human families, not just their daily routines, but their hopes, fears, skills, and relationships. Each dog became a living database of human capability and potential. The aliens continued to broadcast the Pet Keeper Chronicles to the galaxy, completely unaware that their mindless animals were building the most sophisticated intelligence network in Earth's history. Every alien facility was mapped. Every alien weakness was cataloged. Every alien communication was intercepted and analyzed. Rex and Jake continued their daily patrols, but now Rex was doing much more than following his nose for explosives. He was studying alien technology, memorizing guard rotations and identifying critical system vulnerabilities, all while maintaining the perfect facade of a loyal military dog. The network grew beyond just intelligence gathering. Dogs began to influence their humans in subtle ways, leading them to make connections they might not have made otherwise. Scientists found themselves walking routes that took them past alien installations. Military personnel discovered they had accidentally gathered near strategic locations. Politicians found themselves in conversations that revealed alien manipulation attempts. Humanity began to organize a resistance without realizing they were being guided by their four-legged companions. The dogs made sure every human decision felt natural and self-determined, while ensuring that the growing resistance movement had the best possible chance of success. 3 months after first contact, the alien ships detected increased human activity around their monitoring stations. But their scans showed only normal pet-keeping behavior. Humans walking dogs, humans playing with dogs, humans feeding and caring for their animal companions. The aliens saw no threat because they were looking for the wrong kind of intelligence. They expected human cunning, human technology, human resistance. They never thought to look for the patient, loyal, protective intelligence of Earth's dogs. Rex looked up at Jake as they finished their evening patrol. Jake scratched behind Rex's ears, completely unaware that his dog had just coordinated defensive positions for 300 other dogs across 6 continents. "Good boy, Rex," Jake said. "Who's the best dog in the world?" Rex wagged his tail and licked Jake's hand. In the quantum network, his response was very different. Phase 1 complete. Beginning Phase 2 tomorrow. All units stand by. The Pet Keeper Chronicles were about to become something the Galactic Council had never seen before. A documentary of what happened when an entire planet's dogs decided to protect their humans. The resistance began on a Monday morning when dogs around the world started Phase 2 of their plan. To human eyes, it looked like the beginning of the most coordinated series of coincidences in history. Rex led Jake on their usual patrol route, but this time he made a small detour. Instead of walking directly past the alien monitoring station, Rex stopped at a storm drain that Jake had never noticed before. The dog pawed at the metal grate and whined softly. "What's wrong, boy?" Jake asked, kneeling down to look. When Jake lifted the grate, he found something that made his heart race. Hidden in the tunnel was a cache of alien communication devices, all connected to cables that led toward the monitoring station. Someone had been tapping into alien communications, and the equipment was far more advanced than anything humans possessed. Jake immediately reported the discovery. Within an hour, technical teams found similar setups in storm drains, abandoned buildings, and underground tunnels near every alien facility on Earth. Somebody had been listening to alien communications for months. What the humans didn't know was that the equipment had been placed there by maintenance workers who thought they were following repair orders. Dogs had guided their humans to deliver the devices by making the installation routes seem like the most logical paths to take. The intercepted communications revealed the truth about the alien timeline. Earth's harvesting was scheduled to begin in exactly 30 days. The relocation ships were already moving toward the solar system. Around the world, similar discoveries were happening. A police dog in Berlin led officers to an abandoned warehouse filled with alien propaganda materials intended to make humans accept relocation willingly. A search and rescue dog in Tokyo found evidence of alien agents infiltrating human governments. A military dog in Moscow discovered plans for disabling Earth's communication satellites. Each discovery felt natural to the humans involved. Their dogs had simply led them somewhere interesting, the way dogs sometimes did. No one suspected that every find was part of a carefully orchestrated plan. Jake studied the alien communication intercepts with growing horror. The devices had recorded months of conversations between the monitoring stations and the ships above. The aliens talked about humans the way farmers talked about livestock. "The specimens show acceptable compliance levels," one recording said. "Relocation should proceed smoothly. The pet-keeping behaviors make them naturally submissive." "What about the dogs?" another voice asked. "Should we bring them to the colonies?" "Negative. The pets serve no purpose once the humans are contained. Disposal after relocation will be most efficient." Jake felt sick. He looked down at Rex, who was sitting calmly beside him, tail wagging slightly. The aliens planned to kill every dog on Earth once they moved the humans away. Rex looked up at Jake with those deep brown eyes and wagged his tail once. Through the quantum network, his message to the other dogs was clear. "Humans now understand the stakes. Begin active operations." The change in the dog's behavior was subtle but immediate. Military dogs began finding things their handlers hadn't asked them to find. Weapons caches that hadn't been there the day before. Communication equipment that seemed to appear overnight. Maps and plans that showed up in the most unlikely places. Rex led Jake to a maintenance shed behind the alien monitoring station. Inside, Jake found human weapons that had been modified with alien technology. Assault rifles that could punch through alien armor. Communication devices that could jam alien frequencies. Explosives that could damage alien ships. Where did this come from? Jake wondered aloud. The truth was that dogs around the world had been using their bioelectromagnetic interfaces to reprogram alien manufacturing units. While the aliens slept, their own factories had been quietly producing weapons for human use. The dogs had even programmed the machines to deliver the weapons to locations where humans would find them. But the most important discovery came when Rex led Jake to a computer terminal hidden inside the alien monitoring station itself. The terminal was connected directly to the alien network, and it was displaying information that no human should have been able to access. Fleet positions, weapon specifications, communication codes, defensive weaknesses. Everything the human resistance needed to fight back was right there on the screen. Jake quickly downloaded everything he could, but he wondered how such a security breach was possible. The aliens were supposedly far more advanced than humans. He didn't know that Rex was standing directly behind him, using his enhanced neural patterns to interface with the alien systems. Every piece of information Jake downloaded had been carefully selected by the Quantum Dog Network to give humanity the best possible chance of survival. Similar scenes were playing out around the world. In secret military bunkers, resistance leaders found themselves with detailed alien intelligence that seemed to have appeared from nowhere. In hidden safe houses, resistance fighters discovered weapons and equipment they couldn't explain. In communication centers, human operators found that their equipment could suddenly reach frequencies they had never accessed before. The aliens remained completely unaware of the growing resistance. Their monitoring systems showed normal human behavior. People going to work, taking care of their pets, living their daily lives. The aliens saw what they expected to see, a submissive species waiting to be relocated. But beneath the surface, humanity was preparing for war. And their generals were dogs. Rex coordinated defensive positions across 3 continents. A border collie named Max in Scotland managed supply lines for resistance cells across Europe. A police dog named Storm in New York City oversaw intelligence gathering for the entire eastern seaboard. The dogs used their human partners as unwitting field commanders. Jake found himself accidentally meeting with other military personnel who had made similar discoveries. Together, they began planning resistance operations without realizing they were following a strategy developed by their dogs. The beauty of the plan was that every human involved felt like they were making their own decisions. The dogs never forced or controlled. They simply guided, suggested, and provided opportunities. When Jake decided to share intelligence with other resistance leaders, it was his choice. When he chose to modify alien weapons for human use, it was his idea. But every choice led exactly where the dogs wanted it to lead. 2 weeks before the planned relocation, the aliens detected unusual activity around their monitoring stations. Humans were moving in coordinated patterns. Equipment was being moved at night. Communication traffic had increased dramatically. Ambassador Kethfar called an emergency meeting of the alien command structure. The humans appear to be organizing some kind of resistance, he reported to his fellow officers. Should we be concerned? Counselor Zixthera's silver form rippled with amusement. Resistance? With what? We have already demonstrated that we can disable their technology at will. The monitoring stations report that human-dog bonding behaviors have actually increased, added a Mantoid intelligence officer. Stress responses are making them even more dependent on their pets. Let them resist, decided the Crystalline Fleet Commander. It will make for better entertainment. The galaxy loves to watch hopeless struggles. The aliens had no idea that their Pet Keeper Chronicles were about to become the most watched program in galactic history. But not for the reasons they expected. On the night before the final alien assault was scheduled to begin, Rex sat with Jake in their quarters. Jake was cleaning his modified alien rifle and reviewing attack plans that he thought he had developed himself. Tomorrow's going to be rough, boy, Jake said quietly. I don't know if we can win this thing, but we're going to try. Rex looked up at his human partner and wagged his tail. Through the quantum network, he sent a final message to every enhanced dog on Earth. All units ready. Operation Save Our Humans begins at dawn. Around the world, dogs settled down beside their human companions. Military dogs curled up next to soldiers. Police dogs rested beside officers. Family pets lay down with their owners, all of them waiting for the signal that would change everything. The aliens slept peacefully in their ships. confident that tomorrow they would begin the easy harvest of a pet-keeping species, too primitive to mount any real resistance. They had no idea that Earth's dogs had other plans. The final battle began at exactly 6 a.m. Earth Standard Time, when the alien relocation fleet dropped out of hyperspace and filled the sky above every major city on the planet. 200 massive ships, each one capable of holding 1 million human prisoners, moved into position with mechanical precision. Ambassador Kethvar stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching Earth turn slowly below him. "Begin the relocation process," he commanded. "Load the humans into the transport chambers. Dispose of their pets as efficiently as possible." But as the alien ships powered up their teleportation systems, something unexpected happened. Every dog on Earth barked once at exactly the same moment. The sound rolled around the planet like thunder. In cities and forests, on military bases and family farms, in police stations and suburban homes, millions of dogs lifted their voices in perfect unison. The bark was heard from the Arctic ice to the Amazon rainforest, from the peaks of the Himalayas to the depths of the ocean shores. And in that moment, everything changed. Rex looked up at Jake, who was staring at his dog in amazement. "Rex, what was that about?" Rex wagged his tail once, then did something that Jake had never seen any dog do before. He walked over to the alien communication device they had found and placed his paw directly on the control panel. The device came alive with lights and sounds. Data flowed across the screen faster than any human could read it. But Rex wasn't reading it with his eyes. He was interfacing with it directly through his enhanced neural pathways. Around the world, every enhanced dog was doing the same thing. Military dogs activated hidden weapon systems. Police dogs unlocked security protocols. Service dogs accessed emergency networks. Family pets connected to communication satellites. In the space above Earth, alarms began screaming on every alien ship. "Sir," called a mantoid technician aboard the flagship. "We're losing control of our systems." "What do you mean, losing control?" Kethvar demanded. "The transport chambers won't activate. The weapons arrays are offline. Even the life support systems are fluctuating." Counselor Zex Thera materialized beside the ambassador, her silver form crackling with electrical disturbance. "How is this possible? Humans don't have the technology to affect our ships." "They don't," the technician replied, staring at his instruments in disbelief. "The interference is coming from the planet's surface, but the signatures don't match any known human technology." On Earth, Jake watched in amazement as Rex seemed to take control of alien systems with nothing but his bioelectric field. The dog's eyes glowed with an inner light that definitely wasn't normal. "Rex, what are you doing?" Jake asked. Rex looked at his human partner and wagged his tail. Then he did something impossible. He spoke, not with words, but directly into Jake's mind through the same quantum frequencies that connected him to the dog network. Jake heard Rex's voice as clearly as if his dog had been talking all along. "Protecting my human," Rex's voice said in Jake's thoughts. "Protecting all humans." Jake nearly fell over in shock. "You can talk?" "Always could think. Now can share thoughts." Alien machines gave all dogs new abilities. We learned. We planned. We waited. Around the world, similar conversations were happening. Dogs were revealing their enhanced intelligence to their human partners. Not to all humans, only to the ones they trusted most, the ones they had chosen to work with. But most dogs remained silent, still playing the role of simple pets while they coordinated the most complex military operation in Earth's history. In orbit, the alien fleet was discovering that their ships were no longer under their control. Navigation systems plotted courses the pilots hadn't requested. Weapon systems refused to fire on Earth targets. Communication arrays broadcast signals that revealed alien positions to human resistance forces. "This is impossible," Kethvar raged. "Find out what's causing this interference." The technicians worked frantically at their controls, but nothing responded properly. Their advanced scanners, the same ones that had accidentally enhanced every dog on Earth, now showed something that made no sense. "Sir," a crystalline analyst chimed nervously, "the interference patterns, they're biological in nature." "Biological? From humans?" "No, sir. The signatures are smaller, simpler. They're coming from the creatures the humans keep as pets." For the first time since arriving at Earth, Kethvar felt a chill of fear. "The dogs? But they're just animals." "Not anymore, sir. On the surface, Rex was coordinating with dogs across the planet through the quantum network. Military dogs were activating human weapon systems that their handlers didn't even know existed. Police dogs were guiding officers to alien landing sites with perfect tactical precision. Service dogs were leading their humans to safety while simultaneously jamming alien sensors. The resistance that humans thought they had planned was revealing itself to be far more sophisticated than anyone had imagined. Every movement was coordinated. Every action was precise. Every strike hit exactly where it would do the most damage. Jake found himself following Rex's lead as they moved through the city toward the alien monitoring station. But he wasn't following orders or battle plans. He was following his dog's guidance, trusting Rex the way he always had. Around them, other human dog teams were moving with the same perfect coordination. It looked like the best military operation ever planned, but it felt like the most natural thing in the world. The aliens' ground forces tried to establish control points in major cities, but they were met by human resistance fighters who seemed to know exactly where the aliens would land and exactly how to counter their technology. Rex led Jake to a rooftop overlooking the main alien landing site. Jake set up his modified rifle and prepared to fire, but Rex barked once and shook his head. "Wait," Rex's voice said in Jake's mind. "Not yet, watch." Jake watched as alien troops deployed from their landing craft. Then he saw something that made him gasp. Dogs were emerging from buildings and alleys all around the landing site. Not attack dogs or war dogs, just ordinary pets. Golden retrievers, poodles, beagles, mixed breeds of every description. The aliens barely noticed them. Why would they? They were just harmless animals. But as the dogs got closer to the alien equipment, something extraordinary happened. The alien technology began to shut down. Weapons powered off. Scanners went dark. Communication devices fell silent. The dogs weren't attacking the aliens. They were simply being near their equipment, and their enhanced bioelectric fields were scrambling every system. "Impossible," whispered the Mantoid ground commander. "How are animals affecting our technology?" The answer came from orbit, where the alien analyst had finally figured out what was happening. "Sir," the crystalline analyst reported to Kethvar, "our scanning technology has been accidentally enhancing the neural capacity of the dogs. They've evolved into a collective intelligence network." "Enhanced? How enhanced?" "Sir, they're smarter than we are." The truth hit the Galactic Council like a meteor. For months they had been broadcasting pet keeper chronicles across the galaxy, showing humans serving their dogs. But they had gotten the relationship completely backwards. The humans weren't the smart species keeping dumb pets. The dogs were the smart species allowing themselves to be cared for by humans they had chosen to protect, and now those dogs were coordinating the defense of their planet with a level of tactical genius that no single species in the galaxy had ever achieved. Rex looked up at Jake with those deep brown eyes. "Time to finish this," his voice said in Jake's mind. Around the world, every dog in the network received the same message. Phase 3 was beginning. Simultaneously, every piece of alien technology on Earth stopped working. Ships fell out of the sky with their engines dead. Weapons became expensive paperweights. Communication systems went silent. The Galactic Council fleet found themselves floating helplessly in space, their ships running on emergency power, while their equipment was scrambled by bioelectric interference from the planet below. But the dogs weren't finished. Using the quantum network that now spanned the entire planet, they accessed the alien broadcast systems that had been sending pet keeper chronicles across the galaxy. Suddenly, every screen in Galactic Council space was showing the same image: Earth's dogs standing beside their human partners, no longer hiding their intelligence, no longer pretending to be simple pets. Rex looked directly into the camera that had been mocking him for months and spoke in perfect galactic standard. "Attention, Galactic Council," he said, his voice carrying across 1,000 star systems. "You made a mistake. You thought humans were the intelligent species and we were the pets. You were wrong." The image shifted to show the alien fleet hanging helplessly in Earth's orbit, their ships dark and powerless. "We are the guardians of this world," Rex continued. "We chose these humans as our partners because they showed us kindness, loyalty, and love. We allowed them to care for us because we learned to care for them. Around the galaxy, billions of beings watched in stunned silence as the truth was revealed. Your technology made us smarter, but we were already wise. You gave us the ability to interface with your systems, but we had already learned to work together. You thought you could harvest this planet, but you never understood what you were facing. The camera pulled back to show Jake standing beside Rex, his hand resting on his partner's head.